What's up, guys? Welcome to this live stream where we're going to conduct a gem hunt using Cryptorank tools and adding insight that nobody else is using. Everybody's got their own methodology, their own system for hunting for gems. Luckily, when we're talking about crypto, we can keep score. We can see what method works the best. Of course, everybody's always boasting about how they found Caspa, how early they got in. Instead of being a one-trick pony, a one-hit wonder, if we can find the next monster crypto and start building a secondary side position in that. For those of us who have been purchasing Caspa in the crypto game for over 400 days, our savings is never going to affect our Caspa bag anymore because of the gains plus all that accumulation money. So we're forced to start time diversifying. And if you're brand new into crypto, you're just starting out right now, waiting for a pullback on Caspa, you still got a year until the run-up phase even kicks off. And that's part of the secret sauce, if you will, that we're applying to this gem hunting methodology. We all realize what just happened. The FOMC meeting took place, and they started dropping key data. The data that they released, we can pull up right here. This is the FOMC federalreserve.gov website. The data that we're looking at is right here. We can bring this up into full screen, zoom in, and what we're looking at, more importantly, what the market makers are looking at, because this secret sauce that we're incorporating is ultimately Satoshi's secret. Now, a lot of people in crypto never talk about bonds, but all the stock YouTubers do. Stocks and bonds go hand in hand. You're like, wait a minute. I'm not trading bonds, so that doesn't work for me. It's none of my business. That's where we're all wrong. All the money in the world, whether it's going to be for trains, planes, army tank, hospital, it's coming from bonds. The central banks are ultimately in control of all the money in the world. And Bitcoin was a device created to absorb liquidity off of their global cycle. Do we think it's a coincidence that every 4 years they're doing the halving? No, it's not. The last time they were halving was back here. Cutting rates, excuse me. The last time they were cutting rates, it goes parallel with the halving because it's designed as a weapon, if you will, for retail investors to fight against the central banks, which are slowly taking control of the world around us. And Bitcoin has done exactly that. During the halving, it was built to absorb liquidity. The halving restricts supply. And now, because they're cutting rates, let's take a look at what's going on there so everybody understands. And this is part of Gem Hunting 101. When we jump over to Cryptorank.com and we start peeling through the top gainers, because guess what? The market just ripped to the upside. What we're looking at right here, everything $10 million market cap and up. The biggest gainers since the FOMC meeting. So that was 7 days ago. So all we have to do is put the 7-day biggest gainer on here. The number 1 through 4 are obviously micro cap meme coins. But once we start scrolling down, oh, we've got 24-point reports built on both of those projects because we pre-vetted them. And then actually with Blender, we thought it was going to be strong enough to do a report on. But actually, when we started bringing out this tool and digging up the dirt, this hidden details, we realized this is going to have problems in the bull run. We'll get into that later. And as we scroll down even farther, we find Spectral. And those are, to answer the question of that guy in the beginning, DEAI and Spectral, those are my two side bags. I'm a Caspa maxi, but once I had too much Caspa, I started buying these. And what I'm focusing on right now is this, Spectral, and then later DEAI. Why? Why did these AI projects, why did these just rip to the upside? It's because of the 3 phases. This is going another step deeper with Satoshi's secret, incorporating Bitcoin to the bond market. When the bonds, as they're cutting rates, that old guy on TV, yes, the live is super fun and interactive. Yeah, we do the deepest research here. So 400 days ago, we were digging up dirt, making conclusions that Caspa was going to get connected to Marathon, but we had thought it was going to be like 2030. Technology moves very fast at the speed of technology. But let's get back to this point on how we're going to vet these, implementing Satoshi's secret, which is the correlation of crypto to the bond markets. Bitcoin's designed just to slurp life force off of that. This was the prior bull market, and we're going to use this Fed data to forecast what's going to happen in the future, and this is why AI just took off like a rocket ship. Because the big dogs who only bet on sure things...
Darts at a board sport. I don't throw darts at a board.
Gordon Gecko.
Sure things.
Sure things. These guys want to see it. And so once they got the word that they're going to be cutting rates and holding it down, let's go back to that chart we just pulled up. So this was their old plan right here on rate cuts. What that means is how high this chart's going to go. And we can see previously, right in 2020, they whacked it down from 1.5 to 0. This February 20th, 2020, these are the 1-year bonds. February 20th, 2021. So that bubble flushes in. This is phase 1. This is Satoshi's secret. Bitcoin is designed. That's February 20th, 1 year later. Bitcoin's designed just to absorb capital off the bond market. They think Alan Greenspan was part of the team of Satoshi because it's so smart. And then we can see, of course, when Bitcoin takes a step down, altcoin season gets going. This is 1 year. These dates line up precisely. June 15th, that's the sell-off. Look at this. June 15th, that's the new local swing high on bonds. And this is the information we just got from the Fed. They said, we're going to cut the rates down to at least 3, a bit under 3, and they can do more. And if a recession starts, they will, which is what a lot of stock YouTube is putting together, because they go way deep. They start breaking down the jobs reports and start projecting what the Fed's next move is. It's a science, it's an art. We're just going to do the surface level here. They're going to hold it down to 2027. So that means this flatline point right here, which translates on crypto into the distribution phase. So you get your run up when that bond bubble pops. And then for altcoins, specifically artificial intelligence, and we're going to see why it's AI and not some other sector like GameFi yet. Then there's the distribution where they're building on chain. Right here, there's this White House regulation. Boom. This was March of 2022, so right before the Fed started hiking rates and that local high that caused the sell-off took place.
Exciting now.
The White House is like, oh, guess what? Crypto's about to get wrecked. We're going to start regulating.
Can we see the paperwork on those?
We're going to start regulating the distribution projects. We've got to go back in time here. And this is an article from 2020 about nodes as a service. In fact, let's actually look at ChatGPT and just read the first paragraph here. We usually don't read off of anything, but this is important. During the 2021 crypto bull run, several nodes as a service platforms emerged that were later exposed as Ponzi schemes. This was the entire distribution phase of the last bull market, whether it was Phantom, AVAX. Teams were coming in and building nodes as a service because people just saw how much gains we were getting during the run-up phase, and more investors pig piled on. But they're not naive. They're not going to buy Bitcoin at 60,000, right? They're going to look for new projects, a new idea, a new gem hunt on top of what's already going on. Therefore, the government stepped in and started with this regulation. And this is almost forcing teams to build artificial intelligence projects. Knowing this, the FOMC, the key investors, the market makers, the Jane Street, the BlackRock, these guys are extremely bullish on artificial intelligence following the FOMC. That's why the projects that we've already vetted have been going nuclear. It's not from retail. What we're seeing right now is who the big dogs are buying, what they're doing. They only bet on sure things. And as soon as they got the word out that these rate cuts were going to last for a long time, making a larger distribution channel, they jumped all over AI. And this is just getting started. Now we've got to start to comb through all these projects that are running, and the majority of them are running because it's the market makers, the institutional level investors that are buying. Why do we want to copy what they're doing? Because as this bond bubble pops, we can see on Caspa as clear as day. We've been following the FOMC meetings on Caspa since we originally got it. Look at this. Every time the Fed is up there giving information, giving news, Caspa's going parabolic, right? Just off the chain upside, which is hand in hand correlated with institutional level investors. That's when the big boys are stepping up because they want facts. They want the real thing. They don't do guesswork. So this is the top performing crypto list off the last 7 days. And what we're going to do is a pre-scan. Interesting point. They have a very controlled tokenomics right now. And as we get in and vet these using the 24-point system, this 24-point system is so key. Let's put ourselves in the mind of Wojak for a moment. Wojak works at McDonald's. If he goes in there and he doesn't have a system, they won't do temperature checks. They won't chop the onions. The rush hour is going to come. They're going to say, sorry, we don't have any 25-cent. We don't have any quarters. We're going to have to round up your change. Someone's going to get food poisoning and die. It's not going to work out. Even to open a fast food restaurant, you need a written system. We're now vetting cryptocurrency, and you can't do that off the top of your head. You need to go through and thoroughly examine everything in every detail and then compare it side by side with its asset haven peer group, as we've done in the artificial section. And I also did this on GameFi. So I have already found the best GameFi project that will be this bull run's show stealing rocket ship. And it's not even listed on exchanges yet, because we can look for new listings doing this as well. So as we comb through, and this, for everybody that's been using CoinMarketCap, forget about that immediately and just jump over to Cryptorank.ai, because we're going to get a lot better information off of here. This one, the volume's too low. This is another thing that we really want to watch out for with these projects like Hash AI and stuff. If we've only got 500,000 in volume right now, post FOMC, as a rule of thumb, you never want to buy more than 1% of the daily volume. That's the limit, just as a basic risk management. So you can't even put 5 grand into that. So immediately some of these projects are nullified by volume alone. And in fact, we can go ahead and add a filter regulating the volume. We want to see everything that's doing at least 1 million in volume. So immediately the list changes. Good. And we can see 01 right at the top. Let's go ahead and select this to see the information that we pull up right here. So we've got the vesting schedule. Now, originally, their tokenomics were completely different when we had originally vetted this project. The validator unlock, which is key. As you guys understand, that's a massive part of the roadmap for the project. This was going to unlock a couple of months ago in the summer, but they pushed it back. They pushed it back significantly. So this gives the team more time to work and develop. Not a massive amount of information on this website. Of course, by utilizing the 24-point checklist, we dig deeper. Let's get something that's got more info on hand. Let's take a look at Spectral. And then we'll start looking at some new ones. So Spectral, we've got a 24-point report on this. We've been scooping this up for a while, and we're right now actively searching for a new opportunity to buy more at the low. Here's a great insight that you get only on Cryptorank that you won't find on CoinMarketCap, and that's the VCs. We can utilize this to run a search just for projects built by Polychain Capital. As you guys know, Polychain Capital, an off-the-books version of Coinbase. Very strong VC. They're also the VCs of Tau. So these guys have already been there. They've already done that. They've built the flagship artificial intelligence protocol. And
My
that's
CPU is a
something.
neural net processor, a learning computer.
When we jump over to the vesting, we can see that there's no unlocks for 7 months and 10 days, very similar to DAI's current update. As we dive deeper, utilizing the 24-point checklist. So right now we're doing the 15-minute pre-scan, right? We're going to go through these projects and we're going to weed out ones that are worth taking the time to actually systematically vet. By systematically vet, I'll show you one of the other tools that we have inside of VIP. Inside the 24-point checklist system, training manual, and the reports we have published, we've also got 84 questions that we can cut, copy, paste into artificial intelligence. I know a lot of us use Google by habit. At this point, we've got to realize how corrupt Google is just with advertisers alone, not their underlining shady influence. So when we're searching for information, we're going to get a biased content based on who's advertising on Google. Therefore, by using artificial intelligence tools, my favorite, Agent GPT, very powerful, independent thinker, and even better web crawler. Forget about Google. Agent GPT will find documents nobody can find. That's how we get all those weird documents like the tokenization of carbon credits. You can't find that on Google. You've got to use AI. So what we want to do is really summarize what's going on the projects and start a list that we can then enter into the 84 questions that we cut, copy, paste, and ask AI, doing all kinds of things, from seeing how hard the team's working by studying their code on the GitHub, but most importantly, the most underrated step is step 13, strategic partnerships. And you can connect these in a lot of different ways. A lot of times on the main website of projects, let's start looking at a new project that we haven't even studied yet at all. on their website, let's take a look at this one, AIT protocol. So these guys have Morningstar Ventures. We can see right here all their VC backers, and part of the 24-point checklist covers the top 30 performing VCs. And we can do a search for VCs particularly, we can in a second. Looking at the website, what you'll see often is they'll make claims that they're connected with NVIDIA, Google, Microsoft. They try to claim that they've got big connections way up on the high of the totem pole. Going into this website, right here, they're touting that they have these connections with the bit sensor subnet. This is some kind of protocol supporting Tau. So there's a strategic partner that you can find on the websites. They'll often brag about these, but we want to dig deeper in this arena and find out more about strategic partners. Some ways that we can do that is taking a look at the team members. This website will get you started with teams, but you obviously want to go deeper. Inside of the vesting, it may be listed here. They might not have the team members listed on this project either, but oftentimes you'll see the mugshots of team members right up here for projects. To go a step farther, using artificial intelligence, we want to pull up who are these guys and where have they been working previously. With our #1 GameFi project, and this is going to smash every other GameFi project hands down. You can tell just by looking at how fun the game is, let alone all the team members. They've got connections to Apple. They used to either work at Apple, specifically in the Apple Play Store, and they've built other projects that were highly ranked, highly listed top sellers in Apple. So this GameFi project, using step 13 in combination with step 17, analyzing the team and their strategic partners, putting this all together, we could see a clear picture that this is going to be sold all over the Apple Play Store. Now, with crypto, there'll be a lot of fake narratives trying to say, oh, we're in with NVIDIA or we're in with Google in the artificial intelligence sector. We got to look behind that. Oh, that's where that noise is coming from, that website. Interesting. So we can also run a search straight up for for AI projects. Let's get right to the bone of it here and go for artificial intelligence. We've got FET, the new conglomerate. We've been doing some charting on FET inside of AI. We've got bit sensor, render, Solidius has been doing a ton of advertising online. Netmind.ai, these guys are actually strategic partners with DEAI. Yeah, if you're going to vet projects strictly by their fair launch, I mean, best of luck to you. There's not a lot of projects that you can buy out there. Just because VCs and power players have a big bag doesn't mean anything. I mean, Solana's not a fair launch. Look at that. You really don't want to cut yourself off to such a restricted criteria as fair launch only. In my opinion, you're going to be missing out on projects that are going to monstrously pump, like Spectral. The entire reason this chart is beefing up right now, and all of its moves, just like Caspa, it's from FOMC meetings. And this is telling us directly, hand in hand, that the VCs and the market makers are buying this. Therefore, when the bull market starts, and the thing is, that entire concept of only fair launch is great, but you're neglecting yourself from this. This is the ball. This is what everybody wants. Politicians, every lobbyist that they have is trying to make sure that they get policy so they get this money. You guys remember GameStop phenomenon? I'll give you one guess when GameStop reached its peak. That's right. 1 year after this bubble popped. Looking at the Bitcoin chart, GameStop topped 20 days before Bitcoin did. Must be a coincidence. No, it's not. Everybody on social media in the crypto sector had such a enormously bullish monetary situation. The Fed's printing money. They cut rates to zero in a massive cliff drop and held them down for a year. This is the perfect storm. The perfect storm.
I pity the fool.
And I pity the fool who made millions back then. And right now you can see their concepts, their ideas, their gem hunting systems. They're not working. They're just not. I mean, not to create a cock measuring fight here, but we can just see your gains. It's not working. All these ICP heads, you're not making any money off of that. It's not working. It's gonna work in the future? No, it's not. You're gonna see a magnified amplification of what's happening right now and what's been happening over the past 400 days when the bull market kicks off. We've got your scoreboard. And it's not high, and it's just going to get worse. Your concepts are ludicrous. The majority of people on social media, if you're not connecting crypto to the bond market, you are chasing shadows. That's exactly what you're doing. All the catalysts that you think are working are secondary. This is secondary to the bond market. This is where the money's coming from. You follow the money. And oftentimes you'll see as these bonds are unlocking, the teams have even more insight than we do. Looking into VIP, this is the bond auction that's happening right now. And we had hypothesized that the total 3 in the Bitcoin breakout would last 7 to 9 days after the FOMC. Make this double top here on the total 3. We actually have these sketches when it was down here. And then it's going to start to retrace, because the reason the Fed's cutting is because they want to prevent a recession. And they're already starting to feel, they're actually starting to feel that pain. With ICP, if you guys have studied the way their technology works, they're the only project in the world that does plasma tech. So it's like each time they do anything on the blockchain, they're creating their own unique chain. It's very much like a regular data center pink slip stock, in my opinion, that uses a sprinkle of crypto, and then they got it listed instead of on the pink sheets for stocks, where it would have done terribly, into the crypto market so they can see some more upside. That's why you don't see any plasma tech. Plasma tech never got copied. If ICP was really all that, this year, all the lead VCs, and this is how we can tell what projects are going to be kicking tail. We can go right here and say, all right, cool. Let me see Polychain Capital. We'll add these guys. These guys are beasts. Let's do Polychain Capital, though, because obviously they did Caspa. All right, we're going to need to remove some of these filters. That's AI. Okay. So everything that Polychain Capital is doing, we can backdate this for 3 years ago, but a lot of their stuff has to do with ZK Tech. Particularly when we use the top 30 VCs. Polychain's Capital is just one, but on one of these steps of the system, we've got 30 VCs that if they're involved with your project, That's a good sign. It's not make or break, but it's something to be aware of. And it's also a way to conduct gem hunts. So when you punch in the 30, and these are the top earning, remember, we can keep score here. So we know who's on first. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's you're either up or you're not. And we've crushed everybody who's been videotaping their trades. I mean, demolished just from utilizing Satoshi's secret, the understanding of the bond markets. Everybody went in, they thought it was altcoin season when Powell was hiking the rates. And we just explained how, no, that's the government inviting investment bankers into their DeFi bond program out of risk on assets to balance the budget. Crypto Banter, Altcoin Daily, the biggest YouTubers, they're like, go long right now, right here. And we were like, short the heck out of it. We had our whole bankroll in on that short. That's how much we knew it was going to demolish. So as this bloodbath happens, Jane Street, the market maker, they dumped all their legacy projects because of this. They can't really do what they need them to do during this distribution phase. It has to be better technology. Tech moves so fast. Meanwhile, look at Caspa. While that bloodbath took place, Caspa was moving up. So we immediately knew. And this is what we're doing in part right now. On top of all this above the shoulders, numerological deep dive, reading white papers and looking up the LinkedIns and just every detail, we've got to connect it to this concept here. This is Satoshi's secret. This is the origins of Uncanny X-Men, the origins of Bitcoin. Look what happened here from June 1st up through this FOMC meeting, rocketed altcoins, same days, dumping, bloodbath, no good. Showing they're getting out of the legacy projects and into Caspa. To me, that's why we backed the truck up and loaded the bag. And what we're seeing right now on Spectral and some of these other projects that are hits rocketing up post FOMC, particularly with this new data about how they're going to have a prolonged distribution phase. Now we're saying, okay, wait until the bonds unlock. Wait until the recession starts and the board on FOMC is like, we're going to have to cut rates monstrously right now. We're going to have to hack them down. Instead of to 3, we're going to have to bring it down to 1%. Like they really start cutting rates fast and hard. This will be perfect for us as traders because we'll be able to use that date, just like here, February 20th, to correlate when the run-up's going to happen. And then we'll have a bigger concept for when the distribution phase will take place. All the arrows matching. AI is the leading rocket ship during the distribution phase. Let's bring up this project just to see the type of projects that are going to be coming out. This is unlisted, mind you. This hasn't even been dropped yet. I'm not particularly bullish or bearish on this, but it's the application of artificial intelligence. And this is putting people that work on Fiverr out of business. So you can do all kinds of cool stuff like making clothes, your own customary clothes, kind of like a mid-journey that's just going to turn into a print on demand. Kind of interesting. And of course, this is what we want to use as retail. This is novelty. This tech can be applied to business for accounting, for supply chain management, which is what the KII is getting into with the tokenization of carbon credits. This alone, if they can get the carbon credits on Caspa, which is what it looks like the KII is doing, will be the game changer. This can potentially lead to the flippening. Yes, as you should. And I'm going to tell you why that's such a wise move. You've been packing your bag while we were during so this was the end of the sell-off phase. the Fed controls the market, as we just looked over at this bond. Remember, they created the crash in Bitcoin right on June 14th, 2021. That's literally the date. So everybody else in social media world who's like, I know why Bitcoin crashed in June. It was because of the FTX collapse. That is a secondary catalyst. It's what it is. And of course, the government releasing this document about how they're going to start regulating the next bull run, getting rid of this nodes as a service, the Ponzi-nomics that were dominating the prior market. The government released that right here. So I'm not saying that these other catalysts have no effect, but they're secondary. They're going along with the broader plan of the central banks who own our behinds. They own everything. They control everything we do. So that's why Satoshi's a hero, because he built a system that absorbs the money off of the central banks. And we're just reapplying. Constellation is an older, it was one of the original block DAG projects. If I'm just recalling this off of my memory, it was around during the prior bull run. I haven't really looked at it since the prior cycle top, but I know it was popular there and they had a lot of projects building on it. What's the ticker for that? It's DAG, right? Yeah, it's DAG. So this is an interesting pick. I haven't even thought about this one in a long time. Yeah, in order to vet this farther, let's take a look at how it's been doing just recently. Okay. What kind of VCs do they have? I would do a big deep dive on these guys. I would do a huge deep dive on the team. I would figure out what they're projecting to come up with for products. And we have other websites to look at wallets. We can see every wallet they have for this. We have other websites that can pull up tokenomics and pie graphs. All these tools are incorporated in the 24-point system. I would run it through this. This can take you a week, honestly. It'll take you a full day's work. It's not going to be fun. Yeah, crypto's a blast until you start reading the white papers and doing 24-point reports, but you got to do it. And it's such a good system. We've been vetting projects this whole time, and we ended up pulling out over the past 7 days 3 of the top 100 picks. Guess how many picks I pulled out? 3. So we've got a 100% accuracy. We hit everything we had done a report on. We hit. Now, we did an extra report on Alex Becker's pick, Desync, giving him some props. That was one of his stronger picks. So we do a report on that. And then we have 2 reports on projects aren't even listed yet. And one of them's that big GameFi hit. I've looked at every single GameFi project. I haven't played every single game, but I've watched trailers of people playing the game to gauge how fun they are. The majority of GameFis are first-person shooters. And one element inside a first-person shooter that the gamer community likes is bullet time. So just keep that in mind as you're vetting them. I would do a whole deep dive on DAG using the 24-point system and see what they got in store. Can it do good? Absolutely. Let's take a look at Sensei. Microcap, volume super low. So we're already running into problems with the volume. Got some solid run up though here. Microcaps are a whole nother ball game. Oh yeah. So this entire niche, this is running on Ethereum, which isn't bad, but this entire niche, this is Another thing similar to that one we were just looking at, Open, how they're doing the print on demand mid-journey stuff. There's a bunch of different projects that are going to be competing within this niche. In order to see, let's take a look at their vesting, see if there's anything too goofy on the vesting. Well, this is actually, So something bullish about this project is we can see right here that the platform developments, all these unlocks, except for the team and advisors, that's lasts for 4 years. So this is a good sign right here. The team and advisors aren't looking to cash out right away. They won't start getting paid until they've been getting paid. No, October. Okay, October. The team will start to get paid, but all these other unlocks are almost over, which is good. Typically, before the team gets paid, you're going to see some kind of price action to the upside. For a micro cap, the only massive problem with this is the volume. And also this use case, there's a lot of projects that are doing this. So it really comes down to step 13, which is strategic partnerships. They got to be in business with somebody big and or other cryptos, other crypto projects, like a whole kind of network working together, which is what you'll find when you start getting into these niche use cases. There'll be a whole network of like buddy projects all hooked up together. And we see that with TARS. This is a micro cap we've been taking a look at inside of VIP. Actually beefed up a bit more, but when you're connecting with TARS, they've already been having new listings coming out of sort of buddy partners that are going to be working alongside them, which enhances its strength. Just like that one we were looking up with Tao. They're like, what was that? AI such and such. That first project we clicked on, they immediately said, well, we work with Tao. And that's a good sign. You want to see that. And obviously you want to go with the spearhead top dog. And what these guys are offering is ultimately they're getting closer to these online agents, these chat GPT customized for crypto, which is going to be used as retail. We could see with that one Open. This is something that we can use as a novelty so we understand it. We can print on demand. Awesome. But businesses are going to be looking to use crypto to help them lower their bottom line, particularly when there's a recession. So when they're sitting around the boardroom and making money, they don't do a lot of changes. But when the market's down and the economy's bad, and this will be all fueled because of this bond market. And we can see this on this other chart. This is called the 10/2 yield. If you go into stock tubes or anything economic wise, this is kind of showing us how much cash is in the bond market as a generalization. Every time it gets below these lines, it means there's not enough cash out on the street and that there's a recession coming up because the Fed's been balancing their quantifying, easing all the money printing, right? That's why they got to keep all this cash in the DeFi bubble. Even though it's printed, they're kind of holding it. It's kind of a cat and mouse game. So right now, this number's got to come down to stimulate the street, to stimulate the economy, build more jobs, specifically in stocks, but this also works for crypto, growing and developing more on-chain application. Real-world businesses will need to utilize supply chain management tools to help cut the cost. Hence Tau Bit Sensor and all of they're not called nodes, it's slipping my mind, but you know what I'm saying. With With Spectral, let's get back to the list of the top performing. With Spectral, it appears like it's the subnets on Tau. Instead of doing subnets, they're going to do online agents, which means specific custom-made chat GPTs, which is going to be enormous, in my opinion. They can do those for legal work. They can do those for accounting. Everything that can help businesses cut cost, save money, they can do. So that's huge. Price change. We want to add another layout, which is the 7-day price change right there. Apply. Price graph. Got it. All right. Looking at Spectral. Yeah, this is huge. They create agent economies. So they're building chat GPTs online. And as you deep dive into Spectral and see the nuts and the bolts of the roadmap and who's investing in it right now, it's opened up to Silicon Valley. These coding companies, these guys want to get in on AI. A new discovery that's empowering the entire GPT movement is they found out it doesn't matter how fast the code is, the more horsepower, the more GPUs you string up in a row, the smarter the artificial intelligence becomes. So having crypto with all their hash power become involved with artificial intelligence, this may very well be groundbreaking. This could change the game. This could make super sentient AI. Because I live in this $1 million condo, I have access to people of massive wealth, people who own a penthouse here to vacation on the weekends, and people from Silicon Valley who are avoiding California's taxes by staying here in luxury on the Vegas Strip. I've got to speak with people who are on financial TV, who go to the World Economic Forum every year. They're investment bankers. And they were very interested in seeing what retail's insights are on the market, which I think is why they've been offering me their ears so often. These guys were telling me flat out 6 months ago, artificial intelligence is going to dominate this crypto's up and coming bull run. And we can see this based on the mandates for what type of distribution products can be built. And we can see as the Feds, as the market makers and the institutional levels are reacting to the Fed's decision to cut rates and hold them down for a prolonged period, this has all been rocketing into AI, like Tau, Spectral, even DEAI. Because the race for sentient AI, it's happening right now. They're looking
My
to
CPU
build
is a neural net processor, a learning computer.
some ultimate supercomputer. Once governments or corporations have the next level of AI, just look at everything we've done with trading. We just built we've had these built for like 8 months, these reports. The reports that we've had written, the 3 projects that we selected, one of them got a no buy, but it was still made it to the report writing phase. The 3 projects that were the strongest according to our system, they're all in the top 100 in the entire market. The entire market. And it's all because AI went through the paperwork.
Can we see the paperwork on those?
AI can dig up so much stuff, and it gave us such an advantage. And now we know, and we know why, because we understand Satoshi's secret. What's truly driving these crypto markets to the upside? And so now we're looking for obviously more buying opportunities. The fact that the Fed is cutting rates is hinting at an up and coming recession. And our original projection, which I'm still standing by inside VIP, we've made this the entire time. And we're going to wrap this up with Caspa because we're the only channel on all of social media that shorted Caspa correctly after the KRC20. Imagine that, right? And Caspa is my biggest bag. So our hypothesis was based on the understanding of the economy, the historic fact that every single time, I'll show you on Bitcoin, and it's the same thing on the total 3. Every single time the Fed steps in and they do these rate cuts, this was the last one on Bitcoin. You get a nice rally and then you get a sell-off because they're cutting rates because the economy is hit, dude. The economy is taking a hit, my friends. And the Fed's trying to get in front of it before the pain starts. They're going for the soft landing.
Exciting now.
And it's the same thing on the total 3 historically. So our projection is we would form a double top, literally this. I can pull this up for you in VIP. This is what we said was going to happen. And now we're going to start getting downward and sideways motion, and we're going to get our buying opportunities coming up, and we know we might pay a little bit more than we would have back here. And of course, we were buying some earlier after the August dip. We bought a lot of Spectral under $5.20. We have a new added insight, so there's less risk. We know what the institutional investors are going for. It's a done deal. And this is a telltale proof of where this bond money is going to go. It's going to go right into the projects that have been rocketing off the FOMC meeting. You can do that alone as a vetting and crush all these nerds who are like, oh yeah, we got to get in and see the syntax code. And that stuff's important. And we get into it with the 24-point system. The thing is, and here's a great example of how there's a difference between understanding crypto and understanding crypto trading. There's a dude who lives in this condo who's a computer coder, super smart. He got offered a job to work for Phantom just a month ago. You know what his bag is? Shiba Inu, Dogecoin, and Ethereum. And he bought them at the wrong time. He's like taking water in. Doesn't seem like he's utilizing his knowledge and coding into crypto because this is a totally separate skill set. And we want to understand enough of what they're hiding with this Web3 terminology to be able to trade these projects. We don't need to be intimidated by the education of Jonathan Saplinsky and Shai with these super coding things. We have a different skill set that we use. Satoshi's secret, right? We correlate that all together and we'll beat everybody. And the hardest part is the selling. Selling is awfully hard. So let's take a look at Kaspa's chart. So let's get this Fibonacci pitch out of the way and this line. So what we're looking at here on Kaspa's chart is, this is the repeating trend line system. This isn't just unique on Caspa, and I'll show you some other examples of this. The thing about cryptocurrency is the trend lines repeat themselves. This does not happen in the stock market. This is completely unique to crypto, and it's because of the halving and emission schedules. Obviously, on the Bitcoin chart, that helps lead to a 4-year bounce to the upside. But looking at Tau, take a look at this Fibonacci pitch, this angled Fibonacci. It's the same concept, the x-axis trend line. Notice how these all fit like a glove. We actually posted this in VIP right here on September 20th and still captured this. Guess where we got that Fibonacci pitch from? It's the exact same one from right here. Let's put it in color so everybody can see. All we did was clone this. Look at the maximum contact points here. This is just basic charting 101, setting trend lines or Fibonacci pitches. You always count for the maximum contact points. So once we establish the repeating x-axis downtrend, we can see it here, here. The first time it ever presented itself was here. Clone that line, and when we get this giant price channel downside, apply the Wyckoff method, and we get this gravitational field here. All we did was clone this chart. It's exactly identical. We adjusted nothing, and then we plopped it down over here. Clone, and then we just slide that on over. And we got the new chart, which fits like a glove. And this is going to help us a lot with understanding when when Tau is going to be doing downsides. And this is what we do on Caspa. And we've been crushing using this system ever since way back here. And there's two major, there's the y-axis for support and the x-axis for resistance. This has been happening since April. The handle of the cup, after the God candle, the rip down. Here, it's all the same repeating trend line. These gray lines represent the gravitational field. This is part of the Wyckoff method. To show you how accurately we've been able to combine all of these together during the last downtrend. So we open VIP here, we get this beautiful candle to the upside, and this is very relevant into why Caspa hasn't been pumping. We got everybody in at 11.5 and under on the left shoulder, and we opened leverage trades at 12.25 and 13.3. All those trading plans are still inside of the Caspa trading plans, and we're doing an augmented version on the new downward price channel. And those even survived the carry trade. Look at this breakout right here. And this is exactly why Caspa we'll get into the questions on meme coins in a second. The reason why Caspa hasn't been pumping is it's very easy to explain. Look at this model right here. So we have the FOMC meeting on January 30th. We open VIP the next day. We get this pump into a head and shoulders with a double top for the head. Look at the dates. February 20th. That is exactly when this breakout stopped. And then it sold out through March and April. Going over to the total 3 chart, look at this. This is exactly what happened prior. So this is the FOMC meeting here. February 20th. So that's when Caspa reached its top. And then the altcoins ran like a beast, smoking Caspa. But Caspa had ran so hard before, it was like they were catching up. Here's the other factor. So that's the March extension. All the altcoins were so short-term memory. We're getting destroyed, crushed. The majority of them were all the way back to the May FOMC meeting level when Powell raised rates. The ICPs, they fell right back to here. It's only the new listings and the AI-capable projects that have really started beefing up and keeping the gains on for the total 3. But the altcoins have been getting wrecked. What's Caspa been doing? Dude, it's been going up. We've been going up since then. So while the altcoins started getting wrecked here in March or May or whatever, Caspa's been going up. And this final head and shoulders pattern was very significant. So a lot of this also comes down to a time trigger. Smart contracts. Remember what the big dogs do. They only bet on sure things.
Darts at a board, sport. I don't throw darts at a board. I bet on sure things.
And because Caspa doesn't have smart contracts yet, this is excluding them from the run-up phase. So this is becoming a time-delayed catalyst. Once the smart contracts come online for Caspa, the run-up will be ludicrous. And it may even happen after the run-up phase from bond unlocks. All right, so if I had 2K and I had to choose one meme coin, Pepe, Turbo, or Brett, which one would I go for? I wouldn't do any meme coins right now, first of all. And I'm going to tell you why. Because of the phases of the market cycle, meme coins, they do have a pretty good run-up phase, but they really top out better during the distribution. I would wait right now and wait to see if Bitcoin's going to cross 65,000. Let's zoom in and see where we're at on Bitcoin in the short term. Yeah, see, if Bitcoin's got to get over 65,000, otherwise, this entire post-FOMC rally is done. And because meme coins are a unique asset class that maybe could roll into them, but let's take a look at the charts and I'll give you a charting read on these guys. Instead of buying these, I would get a utility coin. What we're looking at right here these are indicators that are called stochastics and Chanking's oscillator. We nicknamed this the fuel tank. These are like RSI and MACD. They're momentum oscillators, which means they swing back and forth like a pendulum, and you can get good timing and insight into what's going to go up. So see how the fuel tank is on the 1-day chart on Brett is about to make a new higher high? If this red line gets above this can break out. So that's not a bad chart for Brett so far. That can have another move to the upside. Looking at Turbo. Turbo's looking like it doesn't have the same energy with the fuel tank, and it's fully oscillated to the upside. As a rule of thumb, meme coin trader, if you use just your basic technical analysis, you can do a lot better. So something that we teach inside of VIP is chart setups using these oscillators to simplify it, and this gets more complex. You never really want to buy when they're at the top. They can do bull flags like this, but ultimately you want to buy when the stochastics is down. And there's other ways to measure that with other indicators to see if it's going to make a lower low or a higher high. But as a rule of thumb, as long as you buy when this is down, look at this. You get a good deal, you get a good deal, and you get a good deal here. When you buy on the top, unless it's going to make a bull flag, you're not getting a good deal. So I would take a look inside that VIP if you can. And then what's the last one here that we're going to look at? Pepe. Pepe is weirdly connected with Caspa, price action wise. Yeah, it's not I don't think it's Pepe at all here. Let me get a deeper look. Well, the fuel tank looks good, but it looks okay. Let's see the 4-hour. Yeah, I would go with Brett. It's Brett, but I wouldn't get into any of them right now. Only Brett. Based on technical analysis. There is no WAP. You've somehow that WAP one is like a backup. If you're in there, I'll try to find you because that one hasn't been updated. We have it on Patreon, not on WAP. There's links in the description. Yeah, that's like a backup in case the Discord craps out. I'll DM me, Merrill, inside this app, Patreon, and we'll get you set up. And I'll send you the Discord link. Yeah, send me a DM right here in community. And I'll get you straightened out because there's a lot of the training materials and stuff on there. You want to be on this website. Yeah. So I can't believe you found that one. But we'll get you all set up. Great question by Green Man. So he's got 500,000 Caspa. What's that worth right now? That's worth, yeah, you're almost at $100,000. And you're 100% in on Caspa. Depending on how much you can save every month, let's say you can only do, if you're only affecting your bag 3% or less every month, you've already bought everything that you can buy. Now, in the right market conditions, we may definitely get another chance at some discounted Caspa here. How big is the discount going to be? We'll have to see. A lot of it's coming down to this Bitcoin chart right now and the total 3 double top that we highlighted. So by a rule of thumb, what I did was I kept loading my bag on Caspa until I couldn't affect it more than 1% every month. It just became futile to continually buying it. So once you get to around 3%, I mean, let's say you spend 6 months hodling, and that's at 5%. So you're going to get about 25% more Caspa. When it comes time to sell, that type of a fluctuation, if you can do 5%, keep going. But once you get below 5, you start getting at 3%, 2%, you're done. 1% is over. You could do another round of buying and you still have time. There's no need to rush because Caspa is going to mature faster and stronger than the artificial intelligent projects because of it's a layer 1. Therefore, it will have a stronger run-up phase. Just to explain in detail, this is a great question, by the way.
Riggedy, wrecked, son!
Oh, no, wait, that's the wrong button. That was supposed to say good question. I programmed that wrong. Anyway, so the run-up phase for layer 1s is going to be really strong. That's why focusing on layer 1s during this accumulation period is key. As we're getting closer to the run-up phase, as we can see, altcoins behave differently. They have bigger distribution than Bitcoin, and that's leaning into layer 1s. Therefore, with our time diversification, focus on the projects that are going to move up the fastest in correlation with that bond connection. So because we've just identified Caspa's moving with the FOMCs, therefore, as that bond unlock takes place, it will affect Caspa more dynamically, giving a stronger run-up phase. Once you can no longer affect your long-term hodl bag, right around, I would say 3%, 5%, you're getting close, but 3%, you're really getting ready to call it. 3% times 6 is 18. 18% more Caspa over the next 6 months. That could be the difference between buying and selling 72 hours. The more you have, the less human error you will get. Selling is when we're all going to take human error. Buying's easy. Selling is a whole nother beast. Now, we can build models and theories based on the bond unlocks, really honing in on Satoshi's secret. Like we've been doing in VIP, we've been waiting for these bonds. Speaking of the current market, we can see on the 26th, the auctions are happening for 90 billion, 85 billion. And I thought there was another one also. It might have been taken down. Oh yeah, right here, and 44 billion. So 90 billion, 175, so $200 billion will be taken away from risk on assets. This includes the stock market, but it's a distraction. It may be more than this as well. It diverts capital from market makers away from crypto. The prior bond auction took place right here on August 26th. Notice we're forming a double top, and guess what? We actually have the fundamentals inside our VIP. Not just I hate naked technical analysis because it makes us look like kind of like fools. All technical analysis that we do inside VIP, and we do a ton, we always correlate it with some kind of fundamental research. This is when we recognize there was a head and shoulder pattern right before the Bank of Japan carry trade, issuing stop loss warnings for the team. Because you can see all these head and shoulder patterns. This one didn't even have a right shoulder, but Caspa, very popular to use these head and shoulders. So I would keep going until right around 5, you're getting closer. The more Caspa you have, the easier your bull run's going to be. The less complications you have, the more money you get to put in the bank. Here's the extreme flip side of this coin. You own 15 meme coins instead of 1 Caspa. This is the most extreme. How are you going to time taking profit, even with the most advanced technical analysis and fundamental research? You're going to have so much human error. On the screen, those gains are going to look funky. You're going to do great, but in the bank, you're not there. So, Green Man, make sure you've got enough Caspa to lop it off in chunks. And I'm utilize as part of my mentality, my strategy, waiting for the distribution level to sell off my Caspa, but always thinking I can always save some of it into 2030, giving me the advantage of waiting till the selling is all done. And by knowing Satoshi's secret, we know when this is going to be over with, because they'll start to hike rates and we can go, this correlates exactly. June 20th is exactly when the market crashed. And so we'll be able to know when the party's over and hone in on when to sell the top. Of course, we're going to use some dollar cost averaging combined with the technical analysis and everything like that. Just put the whole package together. So the more you have, the easier your life's going to be. But it's coming soon, and you got plenty of time. This is why you have plenty of time. We're looking at a potential recessionary period. That's why the Fed's cutting rates. That's why China stepped up. No, I don't. Ultimately, what affects retail is a passenger in this car. They are along for the ride. It's part of the cancel culture movement. The internet puts everybody's business online. All that matters at the end of the day is, will the big players, the investment bankers, see value in Caspa to connect it to this bond market bubble? And the answer is yes. Let me show you the Marathon Digital. It goes way beyond that gossip that we're bringing up there. When we bring up the Marathon Digital, majority holders, to talk about Casplex for a moment, these are who owns Marathon Digital. We've got BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, and Jane Street. Very important here. These guys are VCs. We can find them They'll be listed in a bunch of projects like this is Spectral, Jump Capital. So Jane and Jump Street often team up. They're like Batman and Robin. But it's important that Jane Street's involved in Marathon Digital because they're only mining 1%. For anybody who's been in the woods for the past 6 months, Marathon Digital mines Caspa. They're only doing 1% of their hash rate, which is giving them a pulse on the project. There's no smart contracts yet, but for Marathon Digital, ultimately then BlackRock, who owns Marathon, so BlackRock's mining Caspa, they've got their nerds making 24-point reports for them. Marathon Digital's profit just went up because of Casplex. In case you guys didn't know, all the miners are making more cash now because of the inscriptions running on chain. That increases the fees. And they're doing a lot of work not to get sidetracked into the miners on Caspa. They're looking at optical miners, which will be revolutionary for the environment and really put Marathon Digital on the map and Caspa. The real movers of the market are these guys, bro. They take their money out of central banks and then they put it on the street and they could care less. In fact, I mean, because the exchanges are. The exchanges aren't as prominent as the market makers. So I wouldn't be worried about that. That's not the whole Israel's polysocial issues. Not really my area of expertise, but ultimately it's all tied into this bond market too, because there's other entities that want to use this money to finance artificial intelligent war machines. Like you've seen probably somebody who's been backing one of the political candidates in this year's election. Their lobbyists come from Google. This is an old guy with gray hair, and they're building AI fighting machines, flying drones, self-exploding Terminator robots, everything like that, right?
My CPU is a neural net processor, a learning
That's what
computer.
they want to use the bond market for. Well, the other side has lobbyists that are trying to get it into Silicon Valley. So to answer your question using this chart, it's I don't think it will be a factor, no. Because those BlackRock owns the war machines. The war machine is all part of the polyscience, but I mean, we're getting kind of off the subject on this. You can see my icon right here. You just click and click message me in the community. If your name is Merrill on there, I'll look for you and send you a DM. Just go to community and then look up Jesse AI and send me a message. We'll chat later today, Merrill, and we can go over your portfolio. In fact, why don't you send me a message and tell me what you have in your bag and what you're looking at to buy. This is a great question. So I watched an interview that was actually done in a foreign language with a bunch of academics over in Israel. Jonathan's in front. And he was saying in February that they were getting ready to launch it in a year. So when it's ready and when they launch it are two different aspects as well, as they'll correlate this with broader market dynamics, exactly what Casplex did. It was no coincidence the KRC20 inscriptions launched the same week of the FOMC. Now, because we just went over a deeper understanding of Satoshi's secret, we can now understand why they would do that. It's not to rocket the price instantly, which is what retail, we try to connect it with automatically. We're like, it's to move the price up. No, it's to secure funding for the distribution phase of the project to create the Trader Joe AVAX type tokens and build on chain with Kaspa. Awesome. So, to sum up everything that we've covered, right now, according to all the data we put together inside VIP, to give you guys a sneak peek, we've got these bond auctions, which previously acted as this double top that was cued by the prior post. The other bond auctions were happening right there. And so we hypothesized it would go up to here and then stop, and we're going to get some sideways and downward action, because we know when the Fed starts cutting rates, looking at a different Fed chart, this is the 10/2 yield. Whenever this dips down low, it means there's too much money in the government's DeFi bubble, the bond market. They're trying to balance the money printing too much to control inflation. And what they need to do is they need to put this bubble on the street. And that's called cutting rates. Their plan to get that money on the street is, instead of doing massively drastic cuts like as low as 1%, and they could keep changing this. See how they changed it from June? Numbers got lower. Dude, they can go ahead, get new data sets and go, oh, we might actually be going lower, like 1%. And there's some other content that you guys should be looking for. Instead of getting into the gobbledygook on social media, is look for social media guys that are talking about these numbers. And they're trying to make projections into the fact that the Fed's probably going to cut rates more, and that there's an up and coming recession that they're hiding, masking, and they'll have difficulty with the soft landing. But because this happened and this data came out, we can see this on Tau, Spectral, and all the projects that we already gem hunted for started rocketing, because this system is good. And there might be some other gems out there that we didn't find. We got, out of the 3 we picked, one of them actually got a no buy, but it made it to the report. That was Blender. They're all in the top 100. Best performing in the entire market, including gobbledygook meme coins that no one's heard of. So these projects are good. This system works. This concept will help you become a better trader and grow. And that's one of the important factors inside of our group. For $47, definitely worth it. Like buying a book at Barnes & Noble, it's interactive. You'll grow as a trader. Technical analysis, fundamentals, Satoshi Secret, helping you. Right now we're still buying, but it will be better for the selling too. With Caspa, utilizing our special repeating trendline system, which only works on crypto. It doesn't happen in stocks because cryptos have halving and emissions. We are able to always identify that Caspa would be stopped here. And using some of our indicators like we did on that meme coin read for that guy, we have other indicators that are showing us there's nothing bullish anytime soon for Caspa as of right now. And this goes along with our fundamental research that the recession is potentially ahead. Everything's cooling off, giving us another opportunity to load the bags until the Fed comes in, superhero saving, cutting this down, initiating Satoshi's secret, lowering these numbers, creating a time release. Because remember these dates, February 20th and June 14th. February 20th, a year later, and then boom, they control it all. And we study this stuff and to make better trades. They will initiate the bull run. They're doing that right now. These dates will play forward in a year. People will try to make a correlation that it's the Bitcoin halving. That's part of Satoshi's genius. He lined this all up. So every time the Fed ends up cutting, the last time they cut was back here, right next to the halving. Because Satoshi's smart. They say Satoshi's Alan Greenspan. He's the leader of the team that built Bitcoin. Because they know so much about all this nerdy stuff that we've been trying to cue everybody into learning. This is how, dude, I wrecked everybody. My gains are the best. On video, hands down. Just use this tool. You're already a better trader. You can get way better joining VIP. And it's Satoshi's secret. It's what everyone should be talking about. But people had such a good bull market last time. Satoshi's secret has been lost in the fray. And we're just bringing it back. So thanks everybody for checking out this live stream. We will catch you. And we will catch you on the next one.